Welcome back, everyone. Going to intro this panel again. I did it off the back of the last when we were finishing, but a lot of important stuff here anyway. So, when we're putting the panel together, one thing we thought that was really important to cover were the folks that were early adopters. Like, why did they move so early? We thought that in itself had a lot of valuable information for an audience and for people trying to look at, what happened over the first year and what reasons people move their bodies to come and get involved. So I've got a great colleague of mine, Joon Wong, who I've worked with for many years in the industry. He's going to lead this discussion on those projects that needed decentralized storage ASAP and adopted and used Filecoin within its first year.
Hey, thanks so much, Nolan, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm going to take the liberty of introducing my panel and myself quickly, just so that we can get to the meat of the discussion here. And also Harrison from Fleek might join us as we go along. But my name is Joon. My background is in journalism. I've been covering the industry since 2013, early on at CoinDesk. And Filecoin has been one of the most interesting projects that I've watched develop over the years. And I think what we're going to talk about here is we're going to ask our great panelists. We have Bradley from Unstoppable Domains, which obviously you can do a bunch of stuff on it, including get a .crypto domain name from them. And Joel, a co-founder of the Ceramic Network and 3box. And I was an early 3box user back in maybe 2018 or so. And I remember I was quite amazed by this idea of a persistent identity on a blockchain. And obviously Ceramic has been integrating with lots of chains. So really one of the most interesting multi-chain solutions out there right now. But without further ado, I was going to ask maybe Joel to begin with, let's go back 12 months, right? Filecoin is about to launch mainnet. There's a lot of buzz. We've been waiting for this for several years. What were the decisions going through your team's mind at the time? And why did you decide to integrate and work with this technology back then?
Yeah, well, so I guess 12 months ago, we just kind of had started building Ceramic not that far or much earlier. So, but we had just reached the point where we had a functioning protocol that people could use on a testnet. And so Ceramic is a protocol that's built on top of Ethereum and IPFS. So we have had kind of experience with the technology of IPFS from Protocol Labs for quite some time. And so we kind of had been following kind of everything that's been going on there. But obviously with IPFS, it's more like a transport protocol for structured data. And you don't really get any persistence guarantees. Maybe for some context on what Ceramic is and how it works. So Ceramic is a network for something we call sovereign data, which is essentially data that's associated with a decentralized identity. And in Ceramic, you have these data objects that are mutable, but only by the owner or the controller. And they're made up of IPFS or IPLD objects that link back to each other using hash links. And so a Ceramic node basically maintains the current state of these data objects. And so that's great. Ceramic can do that pretty well. But the problem is if you want that data of the entire event history to be backed up, you can either back that up on some centralized servers like the AWS, or you can do that somewhere else. And so as we started talking with the Filecoin team, that seemed like an obvious first thing to do, this event log actually backed that up in IPFS. So if there was some kind of catastrophe event, you could, and your node, all the node that had those data objects went offline, you can kind of go to Filecoin and find data and recover. And so back then, our team was still pretty small, and we actually got someone from the community to start working on a plugin. And so actually the thing that made it possible for us to do this in the first place was that there's another amazing team called Textile that built something called Power Gates, which is essentially made it easier to interact with and make deals on Filecoin. So that was integrated as like an alternative pinning solution for ceramic objects. And so that was an external community contribution to our application. So, and it's still kind of in there today. But that was super exciting back then, like just having the communities kind of come together in that way.
Gotcha. Thanks so much for that. And, you know, just to sort of refresh the audience memory, like think about, you know, Q3 2020, right? We had just done DeFi summer. The prices of everything was probably about 30% of where they are now. You know, we had no idea the year that we had ahead of us. So going over to you, Brad, you know, we're back in 2020. What was going through your mind as you thought through this idea of using Filecoin or IPFS?
Sure. So just for those of you who don't know, Unstoppable Domains builds domain names that are NFTs. So they're stored inside of your wallet. You own them forever and no one can move them around or make updates or take them away from you, and use them for payments like decentralized Venmo, websites like pointing content on IPFS or Filecoin or some other decentralized storage network. And now most recently login. So you can log into dApps with your domain name and permission and share data. So going back to, I guess maybe the starting point for us was December 2019. I think we went live with the first IPFS websites. And what we did was we built templates that made it easy for you to launch something on IPFS and then attach the IPFS hash to your domain name. And then a few months after that, Opera browser supported it in Android. So you could type in .crypto domains and see IPFS-based websites. I think this is actually the first time that any non-DNS, any decentralized website combo, because you need the domain name and the web hosting content to get like a fully decentralized website, had ever went live. I think in August, maybe it was, of 2020. We used 3box actually, and we launched a blog tool using 3box DB tech. And what that allowed you to do was you put the blog content on IPFS, and then you just sign a message with your private key whenever you want to make updates to the blog. So that was where we were a year ago. Our whole thing has been about user choice. Like users should be able to choose where they store their data. Users are in control. Users can point it to whatever they want. What's been interesting is that IPFS has been the primary thing that people have wanted to point their websites to. Even not pointing their domain names to, not pointing to traditional content, really to host on decentralized web content. So I think that's there's strong demand for this. I think there's 40,000 websites associated with domain names right now. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I would say the big unlock here has been browser support. So Brave browser and Opera browser both supported IPFS. I think Brave browser through an actual IPFS node running on the browser, which is amazing. So you get this kind of like, without having to use some sort of a gateway, you actually get direct access to hosting content with a decentralized domain name. So absolutely amazing. I'm optimistic that Filecoin is going to get the same status in those browsers, and we would love to see that. That would be a real unlock for our users to start storing on Filecoin even more.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. And, I mean, the last 12 months have been, I mean, they feel like, maybe 60 months, right? It feels like 5 years, the amount of stuff that's happened. I'm just wondering for the both of you, what are some highlights, I guess, across those 12 months, whether it's working with IPFS and Filecoin or just the wider decentralized web and Web3 ecosystem. Maybe we'll stick with you, Brad, and then we can go over to Joel.
Well, I think this was the year of NFTs. So if 2020 was the year of DeFi, 2021 was the year of NFTs. which has been amazing. It has brought in so many new people into crypto from all of these different areas, from art and collectibles and domains and all these different realms. So that's been amazing. It's also highlighted the need for decentralized storage, because what people realized, it's kind of funny that I guess it wasn't a bigger issue when NFTs, when art-based NFTs started launching in 2017 and 2018, that the content was actually on, Google servers or whatever. And people have kind of woken up to this issue, and I've started to see IPFS and Filecoin being used consistently for NFTs. I just think that's a use case that just makes a ton of sense. I think that realistically here, for those that are out there and have been playing with the tech, like, we know that, all of this Web3 tech, including decentralized storage, is relatively early. So it's great when you have a really important use case with a small amount of data, like a picture. So that's a home run use case. And we've actually been focusing a lot on consumer use cases for this reason. Like, we launched decentralized art, verified art galleries, NFT art galleries on .crypto domains, because it's super simple. It's just going and pulling the what's in your wallet from OpenSea API. There's not a ton of content, and then you can display that really easily. Whereas if we built unstoppabledomains.com entire app, it might have been harder. So that's been the thing that we've really been seeing and focusing on, is these consumer decentralized web use cases, which have just had a lot lower friction, because they don't need as much data for some of these things that we're doing.
That's super cool to hear. And, it really makes the case for kind of some of these crypto native use cases, right? It's like when you have a crypto native thing like crypto art represented by NFT, decentralized storage and addressing makes perfect sense. Joel, what have your highlights been?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it feels like there's been many years that happened in this year. So it's hard to kind of lift some things, but yeah, NFTs, of course, is just this crazy information overflow that's happening. A lot of kind of different types of infrastructure started to come online in terms of, DeFi protocols becoming more stable and more kind of interoperable. More people have realized how to build things more composably. I think also some of the data infrastructure Filecoin is of course one example, and the evolution there has been like, so when we started, there was like Powergate, which was kind of like, Web2 API, which you called, and then the Powergate kind of like made everything you needed to do with like deals and stuff like that. And now I know there's multiple projects kind of thinking about how to make that better, and like the interaction of like how you engage with miners be much smoother, and maybe work from other layer 1 blockchains. We've also like seen a lot of layer 2 come online and like experimentations with just more scalability in blockchain. And I think those are still kind of like experimental. The layer 2s that are on Ethereum today are kind of like, they're keeping their capacity limited still, used to make sure they can scale. Another really exciting thing, and like, it's kind of like amazing how quickly it happened. It's still kind of not very public, but like all the DAOs that started coming up, there's like investment DAOs and NFT DAOs, and everyone is kind of in some DAO. And like, how did that happen? So that's really exciting, just like seeing more ways to do coordination online, and just like, how do we make better decisions or work together more effectively, and that's some of the things that have been in the Web3 crypto ethos and vision for a long time, but now we're actually starting to see something that's actually actualizing that. Yeah, I guess it's like,
I was gonna ask you quickly as well, on the topic of DAOs, and everyone's in these DAOs, and you have lots of different chains and layer 2s. Does that tie into Ceramic's kind of thesis, I guess, of identity?
Yeah, so I guess our thesis on identity is kind of that, identity is not really something in the traditional sense where you get some a credential from some institution or governmental body or whatever that gives that to you, and now you have like your identity. That's kind of the old world model of how identity is. But if you think about your kind of psychological identity, or like your real kind of identity, that's made up of the relationship you have with other people, the relationship you have with the world. And so that's really the approach that we took with Ceramic, making your online identity being just like an emergent property from all of your interactions with applications, with other users. And so in order to achieve that, we needed to make data verifiable, that all data that the user generates needs to be verifiable. And that ties in really well with DAOs, because in the DAO ecosystem, right now you have kind of the on-chain smart contract where you do some voting and you have like your treasury, but then kind of coordination happens in Discord or forums, and that is going to work for a while. But we've seen that, you know, with Wall Street bits and stuff like that, Discord is not, you know, a stranger to just removing a community if there's pressure. And so I think we really need better tools that are not as easy to manipulate, and also tools that allow, how do you say, like basically applications to use the same data in different views.
That's a great jumping off point. We have 90 seconds left. I'm gonna ask you guys where you think things are gonna go in the next 12 months. So Brad, you go first.
Yeah, well, I think over the next 12 months, we're going to see a lot more content being pointed from NFTs to Filecoin and IPFS. And so this is not just, you know, domain names for websites. This is art and experiences that NFTs unlock. I think NFTs are going to start to be keys, you know, broadly speaking, used as keys to open content on these networks far more. It's already happening a little bit, but I think that in a year that'll be, you know, potentially as normal as joining a DAO.
Gotcha. Joel, 40 seconds.
Yeah, I think we'll see much better tooling for creating kind of automatic uploads to Filecoin, where you don't have to know and do everything about the structuring the deals and stuff like that. So that's something I'm really excited about.
Awesome. That gets us in with 15 seconds to go. Big thanks, Brad and Joel, for joining us. And I will turn over to Nolan.
Thanks, Joon. That was a lot of fun. I like the idea of NFTs used as keys to enter spaces. It's a little bit about what we heard in the panel before. So when you hear things twice like that and they start rhyming, you can more easily picture it happening. So we're gonna take a quick break, but we'll be right back with a session called The Forest for the Trees, all about Filecoin's implementation of Rust.
Hello. Hey guys. Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me here in this Filecoin's Orbit Day on the anniversary. Quite a big achievement for all of us in the Web3 space. Today, I'm representing ChainSafe and specifically Forest, which is another client in the Filecoin network. So here we go. So just a little bit about ChainSafe Systems, who we are. We are a blockchain R&D firm with a multi-chain perspective. We have built various clients for various ecosystems in the Web3 space, which includes Lodestar for Ethereum, Gossamer for Polkadot, Ethermint for Cosmos, and my personal favorite, Filecoin's Forest. We love the blockchain space and are always super excited to work with infrastructure projects that are shaping the future of Web3 as we know it. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Little bit about me. So I started in the crypto space a couple of years ago, back in 2017, where I worked as an ETH developer and built a lot of dApps and ICOs. At that time, I also got a chance to make a small contribution to the Ethereum network during that time through an EIP, which is 1973 Scalable Rewards. After that, I became a developer advocate for decentralized oracles like Chainlink, worked around the decentralized oracle space, and worked on a lot of various DeFi projects that managed over 40 million in liquidity. And as of this year, I joined SaneSafe as a technical project manager for Forest. So what's the bigger vision for Forest? I guess this is very exciting for us, especially this week, because we have done our first initial alpha launch as of today. So which is very exciting for ChainSafe as well as the Filecoin network. So Forest is an implementation of the Filecoin written in Rust. So as of the current state of ecosystem today in 2021, we can see that there are a lot of Rust projects that are built in various ecosystems like Dot, Solana, Rust-based Substrate, and Rust is becoming one of the most important languages that is being used in the crypto space as a whole. So we aim to provide a first-class language binding to the Filecoin data structures and related APIs in Rust. So that's our bigger vision as Forest, and how we're going to contribute to the Filecoin ecosystem. The implementation, we have like a two-part approach. And the first part has been the initial alpha release, where we are launching our MVP, where it has all the robust or I would say more the critical components that you need to for a node to run that goes with the Filecoin protocol specifications, specifically to VM, the virtual machine, blockchain, node system, mempool, state CLI commands. The second component, which will be more geared towards the next release or the beta release, is integrating the functional components for storage, mining, and retrieval markets to have a very robust, fully functional Filecoin node implementation. So for the MVP that we have this week, that's for the alpha release. So what does it entail? So we have a file state tree synchronization. So it's in sync with the latest chain of the Filecoin mainnet network with an ergonomic message pooling system. We have a JSON RPC server, which follows the Lotus implementation very closely, so that users who are already using Lotus have a very good, have a smoother transition if they want to try out Forest. As we are also building in Rust, so we have blazing fast CLI commands, and where you know, even if the network is really heavy or congested, you will be able to see your balance very quickly. And a UI dashboard where you can see the current state of the node, the blocks that are being synced, more, and all the data that are in the Filecoin network through a very user-friendly dashboard. So as we are near our launch, we would really ask help from the community to join our Discord channel. There's a GitHub repo on ChainSafe that's open source. Please download, run, test it. Let us know your feedback, if any other features that you want to be included in Forest. There's an article on our release today from our Medium blog post, where we talk about the critical milestones that we have crossed, all the FORs that we have fixed from our recent audit. Really looking feedback from the community here. And also we're looking to interview dApp developers, miners, Filecoin users, or any startups that are in the ecosystem building on top of Filecoin, or how we can help contribute or help them build more better use cases for Forest. So that will be all for Forest. Happy to take any questions if there are, and feel free to contact us if you want to know more about ChainSafe or Forest and how we are contributing to the Filecoin Rust ecosystem. Thank you.